as your friendly neighborhood network priest, it occurs to me that I've been in a lot of different places in my years of ministry, and mostly in parishes, but from time to time I've done other things. I mean, I from time to time will help out with Mass on Sunday evenings for some of the college groups, like at St. Rose and U Albany. From time to time I've been visiting county jails and having Mass there. And certainly I think, let's say I visit a lot of hospitals, as I'm sure many of you do. Perhaps you see family or friends or loved ones, or maybe you spend a little time in a hospital yourself. And I can remember people sometimes thinking, well, I'm not sure I really belong or I fit in. Like in the hospital, I wish I could go home. I don't want to stay. They don't understand what's going on with my illness. I might as well stay home. I remember in recent months talking with a college student one evening. She was telling me how she did not belong in college. She was just didn't feel she fit in, felt like an outsider. Her roommate had transferred. She was in the room alone, didn't know the other kids up and down the hall. From a small town, did not really feel she fit in. And she was wondering whether she should leave school herself. We were talking about that. There are times when maybe all of us at one time or another will feel like we're outsiders, on the outside, looking in. And just to kind of put something in the gospel we have today, both the gospel and the first reading, we have conversations around leprosy and the experience back then, 2,000 years ago. I mean, you couldn't go down to the corner store and get a prescription for something like that. They can deal with Hansen's disease today, but they had no clue back then. Totally no clue. People were totally afraid of people with leprosy back then. If you came down with leprosy, you had to leave town. With apologies to listen to the Brothers Grimm story, it's like the troll under the bridge. You couldn't stay in town. You were separated from your spouse, your children, you had a livelihood. That's all gone. Because you can't be in the town with good people. We'll all get what you have. And it's interesting in the first reading today, we have very much just that realization is kind of just struck home. That you have leprosy, you are other, you are different. In the gospel today with Mark, this leper came into town. He heard about Jesus. Now back then, let's see, people, they would see someone, like they would call out, unclean, unclean, or if they had like the equivalent of pots and pans, they would bang them to warn other people. Look out, the leper's nearby. But Jesus walked over to him, and he held out his hands, and he healed him. And what's that phrase in there? If you wish, you can make me clean. The man was placing his faith in Jesus. I do wish it. Be made clean. Jesus was not only healing him, Jesus was giving him his life back. Come, live with your family. Be in the midst of things. He did tell him, tell no one about this. Which you might be thinking, well, how could you do that? Oh, wow, hey, Mike, good to see you again. Where have you been for these last 10 years? I'm sorry, I can't tell you. You go home to your wife. Honey, good to see you. What's going on? I'm sorry, I can't tell you. I mean, that's one way to read it. But another way is, in Mark's gospel particularly, there is an aspect of Jesus doing all this healing. He wants the people to see him not as this magic healer, but as a person of faith who has a very deeper message to offer. And they're not ready for the full message yet. That's why you hear these kind of references. It might sound a little odd when we kind of read them. Think about that. Tell no one about it. Yeah, sure. How could you contain such good news only to yourself? But I think the thing to remember is that the leper has his life back. He is not excluded anymore. And I guess there's something for us to think about. We who are baptized people following the ways of the Lord Jesus, we who are called to share in his good work, share his ministry in the world. There are times in our lives when we maybe, if we don't feel like outsiders ourselves, we want to make others feel like outsiders. And who does society want to make feel like outsiders these days? People with disease, immigrants, refugees, gay people, in certain places, people of color. Sure, we draw lots of lines in society, don't we? Lines where the good people are inside, and the other people, well, they're not. Jesus heals the leper? Can Jesus heal our hearts? Jesus stretched out his hands to us. Can we take away all those things that make us different and divide us? Bring us back to the realization that Jesus came for all people. Jesus offers his saving word to all people. When Jesus heals, he doesn't ask them, where are you from? Or what do you believe? Or what do you think? He just says, I do will it. Be made clean. Jesus heals us all. Can we do the same for one another? Can we live the ways that Jesus offers? How can we now go out and make other people feel clean and part of the community again?